Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Roads webinar. Today's topic is going to be image upload and using the camera API. The first thing we're going to do is generate a blank app. We'll call this one. Image upload. And we'll create one model. We'll just call this model image, and we'll give it a dummy parameter here. This parameter doesn't need to be anything special because it's just put into the views, and we're going to be changing the views to display our images anyways. So once we've created that, we'll open that in our text editor. Go to our controller. In our controller here, we're going to leave this as blank because images are treated as ROM objects. The important thing you have to do is in your model, you have to specify that the image is going to be a blob. So we're going to enable sync for this model, and we're going to specify that anything stored as image URI will be a blob, and go ahead and save that. The next step we need to do is check our build.yaml. We have to add capability camera. So in our capabilities here, we'll go ahead and add camera. Save that. And now we'll edit our row config and set up our sync server. And we'll go ahead and save that. So this sync server we have set up will capture the images. Now we're going to go and take a look at our views here. So in our index page, we'll go and so for each image here, it's just showing the object and outputting the image URI. What we want to do is, instead of having the image URI here, we're going to give it a picture display instead of this menu link display here. So we'll put an image tag, give the source is going to be our object.image URI. We'll give it a width here. And we'll also give another item here so we can delete it. Save that. Let's make sure I get the right class here. So what we're doing here is creating a link to delete the image and a link to display the image. We're also, before we do this iteration of our image objects, we'll have a link to create images. So we'll just call this one, instead of doing a href tag, we're just going to do a, actually no, we need to do an href tag here with a new CSS style. So a href equals, give it our URL for helper. Action will be edit. I'm missing percentage here. Give another span to give it a label here. So one thing we're going to do here is check if the image has camera. There's two ways to get pictures. You can pick from a picture that has been taken already and exists on the camera, or you can open up the camera to take a new picture. And the way you can check for this is with the system properties. So we're going to, let's see, so we're going to use the system properties here. So we'll say if system get property has camera, then we're going to put another link item here, sorry, a list item here that will go to our new method and call this one take picture. We'll also change our index.erb here to have a link to our image class, our image model rather. Save that. So now we're going to go ahead and run the application and just see that all of the stuff that we've just added looks right. that we have our correct links in place, and that everything is just about ready, and we'll implement the controller methods for taking the picture. So far it's looking pretty good. It has our choose picture link here. You notice there is no take picture because the simulator doesn't have an actual camera. All you can do is take an image from what is existing. So if your platform has a camera on it, like if you would run this on the actual device, you would then have the link to take a picture. So what we're going to do is go back to our application now. We'll go to our image controller. Since we aren't going to be using the show method, we'll just get rid of that. In the new image, which is where we would take a picture, we're going to say camera take picture, and then we're going to give it a callback. And then render nothing. This here is we're going to have the choose picture. And give that to the camera callback as well. So both take picture and choose picture behave the same. The only difference between them is one of them opens the chooser and one of them opens the camera. We're also going to have to implement our callback for our camera. So we check if the parameters past status is okay. Then we're going to create the image URI in the database. And we're going to save our image URI, which is what we defined in our model. And save that with the params image URI. And save the image. And then finally we're going to webview.navigate back to our index page, which displays our list. And then we'll remove our old edit and remove our create and our update, since we're not doing any of these. We don't need those methods. And for our delete, we can just leave that as generated. So what we have here is a new method which will open up the camera, an edit method which opens up the image picker, and the callback for both of those that will then save the image to the ROM database. So now we will run our iPhone again. So we can check to see that we have photos on our simulator. So if we go to the photos, you can see I have a couple of photos saved already. So we'll go back and launch our application. Go to our images, we'll select choose picture, and that should open up our picture. So here's the exact problem. I used a percent here instead of a percent equals. A percent alone just executes the Ruby statements but does not return the output to your ERB file. The percent equals returns it. So we weren't getting a URL at all for our image. So once we fix that, now let's run our app again, and I expect that we'll have much better results. So one of the things to notice is our photos have disappeared since we did a reset of the iPhone simulator. So on iPhone Simulator 3.0 version, if you look at your version here, the way to add images to the photo albums is you just drag an image that you have, and then you say save image. And so we'll put in a couple images here. And we'll say save image. So apparently Safari on the simulator has crashed. So we'll try that one again. So now we have a couple of photos saved. Now we'll go to our application, images, and choose the picture. So now it works. Now that we actually have the correct URL, it opens up our image chooser. You can select your image, hit choose, and it has now been saved. So we'll go ahead and choose another one. We'll pick this one this time. So you can see we have now our images that are being stored in a ROM database. We can also delete an image and remove them. So what we're getting is images that are being stored as ROM objects. If we go take a look at the code, we can walk through what is happening here exactly. On the index page, if you have images here, it will iterate with the image URI and display that. And in our controller, we're just saving the image URI to image URI attribute on our model that we've defined in our image model as being a blob. So when you do that, it will work and store the image. It actually gives you this image URI as a string URL when you access it from ROM that gives you the path to that image to display. So now we'll demonstrate the sync, which if I did everything correctly here will work. So now it's logging into our sample server and synchronizing the image data. If we go to our images controller, you can see here is some pictures that are stored there. And so if we take a new image, select that, we can then go back to the home and sync that as well. You can see that we have now our 4 images that have been synced up to our System API sample backend. So now we'll take a look at our backend code that does the sync on the ROM side, our source adapter here.